Okay, so now going into Biko Mac's verse, right? He says,
I need an answer, Mongameli. Nearly every street is bearing weapons deadly. Yet friendly to people who think the glass is half empty. Fill them up with liquor, solve the dire situation. Witness a system with prisons disguised as liquor stations. College application failing, precious ngeka sangen. Isangol falio. Another sister who's a subject to a system with leaders.
I need an answer, Mongameli. Nearly every street is bearing weapons deadly, yet friendly to the people who think that the glass is half empty. Fill them up with liquor, solve the dire situation. Understand? Witness a system with prisons disguised as liquor stations. I don't think there's much to explain there, bro, but like we all need an answer from the president. You understand? I need an answer, Mongameli. And like the way he also said it, it was rash, bro. It was like, I don't remember correctly if, excuse me, there was a chorus after Luke's verse, but I do think there was a chorus, right? Yeah, I do think there was a chorus. But the way Biko also entered that verse, bro, I need an answer, Mongameli. Like, that was, yeah, bro. And exactly going back to what I had said about the urgency, yeah, bro. Justin entered harshly, Biko, Luke, they all answered like urgently. Yeah, but nearly every street is bearing weapons deadly. So that line, nearly every street is bearing weapons deadly, referencing the gang violence, as I had said that, as Luke had also said that heat's in the streets if you need a pot to piss in. Yeah, but nearly every street is bearing weapons deadly, bro. And I also think it was very smart to say bearing, right? Bearing weapons deadly. Like that wordplay is just beautiful, because when you bear, you give birth, right? It's giving birth to weapons that are deadly. But also burying, right? Burying.
You get it? Okay. If you don't get it, forget about it.
It's burying weapons that lead to the death of people. And then what happens to these people? We bury these people. Gang violence is on the rise. We need an answer as to how can we solve this problem of having illegal weaponry or just weaponry on the streets. You understand? How do we solve, or how do we curb this problem, right? Yet friendly to people who think the glass is half empty. This is the view that bad people or people with evil intentions continue to prevail in this country, or they continue to win, right? Rather, and the young, the good, or the pious die young, or they die poor, right? So a person who believes that the glass is half empty is someone who I believe I would say someone who has a pessimistic view of life, someone who doesn't have a positive view of life or the world, in a sense that, okay, a lot of people maybe can say, excuse me, we found this world like this and we can't change it, right? We found this world like this and we can't change it. So that actually means, wow, okay, if you grew up in a world where people were actually stealing, the one thing you can also do is just steal for yourself as well, right? That's viewing the glass as half empty and not believing that, no man, we can actually change this. That's seeing that there is a possibility for change. When you see that there's a possibility for change, a possibility for prosperity, or a revolution rather, that's seeing the glass as being half full, right? People who are said to be optimistic are people who view the glass as being half full. They appreciate the fact that the glass is half full instead of looking at it as though it's half empty. You understand? Like maybe they say it could have been bad, but at least we are here, right? So so the thing is beneficial to people who view the glass as being half empty. This is also, I also did note down here that Lazarus Lazarus on Jerusalem is a great example of that, right? And the teacher guy as well, because they did say how people are corrupt. There were corrupt officials who are also being bribed, right? So if maybe like in the movie Jerusalem, even with our law enforcement, if they believe that I okay, like it's normal for a cop to take a bribe, I gotta feed my family, so I'll do that, right? Not knowing that that possibly has a domino effect, because all of the things that we do have a domino effect, in a sense that you can let that criminal go. That criminal goes and then he kills or he rapes the next woman, or he robs the next family, and then that thing then comes back to your station, then that problem can't be solved again, then it leads to more problems. You understand? So the repercussions of all of those things, yeah, well, maybe a young boy who is gonna change the future of his family passes away in that instance, or the same criminal that you let go as the law enforcement now breeds a young boy who actually had a promising future into being a criminal that again works against the system. Yeah, bro. So yeah, and then he says, fill them up with liquor, solved a dire situation, witnessed a system with prisons disguised as liquor stations. Fill them half empty, you fill them up. So you're also giving the people who see the glass as being half empty the illusion that alcohol or drug use or drug abuse is the solution to all of these problems, right? Fill them up with liquor, solve the dire situation. So it's like, if we give them indoor sale and we make them drunk, we pacify them with alcohol, that solves our problem, but they go deeper into the problem, they continue to face more problems. You understand? So they think that the alcohol solved their problem, and now they view their glass as being full. You understand? Witnessed a system with prisons disguised as liquor stations. Yeah, but so now they become slaves, or they become prisoners to what? Alcohol addiction, alcohol abuse. Yeah, but as it is known that in South Africa, during the week of December 25, 2024 to the 1st of January 2025, and an amount of 7.7 billion rands was spent on alcohol alone.
啊，陈老师，别那么严格，陈老师。
Eastern Cape was responsible for that. No, I'm joking. No, I'm joking. Yeah, but and also like taverns or liquor stores are known to be a very profitable business. Like, if you want to make money, open a bottle store. Who wouldn't want to go to a bottle store, right? Even if it's a tavern, then maybe you can make it a bit established by like catering to people who are like influencers or people who want to live that lifestyle, yeah. But also, if you just open a tavern, you also make money from that, because alcohol always has a customer. Like, there's always someone who needs a beer somewhere. Yeah, well, so that's why it says fill them up with liquor stores. Even in the townships, there are a lot of liquor stores. Like, you turn around the next corner, there's a liquor store. You turn around, there's a tavern. You go, there's a shipping. Someone doesn't even own a shipping, but they actually just sell alcohol just for them to make bread. You understand? It's a very lucrative business. It works. Yeah, but so there's an increase in alcohol consumption and increase in alcohol stores as well. Like, it's not hard to find alcohol. You turn the next corner, you find alcohol. Then there's also going to be an increase in drug abuse and drug use. Do you understand? Yeah. Oh yeah, as I had said, that they believe that liquor is the answer to all their problems. Alcohol problem in our community, the high lasts for a few hours, and of course you have to continue feeding that habit so that you don't face the problems that you actually have in this world. You pacify yourself, right? Yeah, we are outside in the world, but we're still prisoners to all of these stimulants or things that wanna, bring us down. yeah, and as I said, when you're drunk, you pay no mind to what's happening and can't be enlightened. So if we're all drunk as a nation and the government just does as they pleases, obviously, like, we're not gonna be able to think critically about everything that they're doing or see all of those things. You know, the effects of like everything that, like, corruption, the tenders and all of those things. Yabo? So, and then he continues to say now, akusizi ukukhala ingqondo ihlangahlangene, college applications failing, pressures ngeke asangena, isango livaliwe. Another sister who's subject to a system with leaders whom we believe are also suspects. Damn. More bottle stores open than scholar doors. She ditching school, sipping goods to prove her harder core. Bro. So now we move from corruption. And how people use alcohol to, like, numb people or to make people, blind to what's actually going on around them. But now we enter a female perspective. You understand? Because crying won't help solve her problems. Her college applications didn't go through. Yeah, but education is said to be the key to success. But if you can't even give me the key, how am I gonna open doors? Type thing. Yeah, but so now, like, she doesn't know. Education was the only option or the only thing that she knew that could actually give her the future that she wanted for herself and possibly for her family. Yeah, but now with her college applications failing, she doesn't know any other avenue, and maybe she was not even bred in an environment that said, no, if you don't go to school, you could try own your own business. How is she gonna own her own business? She probably doesn't have role models like that. She only sees that thing maybe on TV, and it doesn't spark an idea to say, you know what, Yabo, we are gonna do this. You understand? Because the environment also determines a lot of things on how you move with life and how you understand. Maybe she could see that and say, yeah, I want to do that, but she doesn't know how to go about it because maybe there is no infrastructure, there are no resources to actually help her reach or realize other dreams other than just going to school or trying other avenues as she cannot find school. Yeah, but another sister who's subject to a system with leaders whom we believe are also suspects. Bro, we can't even trust our own leaders. We can't even trust our own people whom we voted into office to say, okay, you lead us to a better future. You lead us to, financial freedom. We can't even trust those people because they're the same people whom we believe are doing us bad and are slick hand, fat face. You understand? The more we suffer, the richer they get. Yeah, bro. Because they know if we were to recognize the patterns or to see how things are actually being done, that means they also lose a piece of the pie or the bread, right? And we now have to get our piece of the pie. You understand? More bottle stores. So it's like that when he had said that in the opening lines, that was not enough. More bottle stores are now opening, as I had just said, that in the neighborhoods, like an alcohol business is very lucrative. And it provides you with a lot of money, right? More bottle stores open than scholar doors. Even Java had said this on Kijima that wavula iminyango yejele wavala iminyango yemfundo ulibambele ingashoni indlala ibangula. Like, you understand? So it's like you're opening all of these things, but you're closing one of the most important things. Like ingane ziyakhala res, yabo. Like, they don't have money to pay for their fees. They can't feed themselves and all of those things. You understand? More bottle. She's ditching school, sipping goods to prove her harder core. Bruh. Going back to the line about years, how alcohol is used as a pacifier, as I had said. Precious was faced with the problem of not being able to go to college. She's frustrated, she doesn't know what to do. And what's the one thing that she has next to her that can maybe numb her pain of not being able to actually realize or actualize the dream that she had? Alcohol. You see that. So, and vele alcohol in the neighborhood is what is very prevalent. Like you turn now, like someone's selling alcohol or someone's drinking alcohol right here. You understand? So yeah, yeah, and actually, Precious had actually viewed her glass as being half full, right? In a sense that, okay, now I'm in school. Once I finish school, there's a lot of hope. There's a lot of hope. Once I finish school, I get a job. I start living this life. I start doing this. I start doing that. I start doing that. But now, roadblock. You understand? Now she starts to view her glass as being what? Half empty. Then what happens? She's going to use the alcohol so that she numbs her problems, and maybe she forgets about her problems. She sees maybe the glass as being half full for those few hours. For those few hours, right? And then eventually she what? She goes back. She's back into the depression. And like she's sipping goods to prove her hardcore, like Ngudu, Black Label, or Casilaga, or Casilite, to prove her hardcore, because ciders are known as soft drinks. Ciders are known as soft drinks, and they're like, yeah, man, they're just jolly. But in good is like, bro, like in good, they're Black Label, yo. Like if you wanna, now it's gonna hit you now. You understand? So to prove her hardcore, she's showing that her problems need like like a strong beverage. Yeah, well, a strong beverage, not some like ciders. And also to show that maybe she's a tough cookie, and whatever it is that happened didn't hurt her. Yeah, but it didn't affect her. Because a lot of the times we like saying, it's fine, it's whatever. Yeah, but we know in our heart of our hearts, we know by SS. I really wanted to get that Shandy's kanjan, but ken was I fumananga. Yeah, so it hurts us, then we cope with our things differently. So she uses goods as her coping mechanisms, but also she sips very strong and hard liquor to prove Guti this situation was really dire and hard for her. Yeah. And then he said,
failing precious ngeka sangene isango livaleo. Another sister who's a subject to a system with leaders whom we believe are also suspects. Damn. More bottle stores open than scholar doors. She teaching school and sipping goods to prove her hardcore. How you expect a fresh perspective from a future leader if she ain't received the aid she needs in order to perform? In poverty she's born, her memories are torn. She keeps on thinking about that day Malome came back home drunk as hell and he forced himself upon her innocence just for a few minutes, then moved along, and now she wiping out her blood, his sweat and her tears. Put her makeup on to go outside and face her fears. Looking at the next dude, the threat is yet to register. She praying for her life while he prey on like a predator.
How you expect a fresh perspective from a future leader if she ain't received the aid she needs in order to perform? A lot of these lines just don't like need me to say anything, bruh. They're straight up. And this Biko is giving it to you as it is, right? And then he says, in poverty she is born, her memories are torn. You see what I was saying about her not possibly knowing other avenues on how to make money, other things on, you understand? Like, until you go to a different place, maybe that's all she was born into and that's all she knows. That's the only thing she knows. Her biggest role model maybe Siso Oni Salon, or someone who maybe gains are around the town. Like, that's the type of dude she's attracted to. Or, you know, like, with her, now things have changed, right? Or Rusomategi is a version of someone who has money, but there aren't a lot of females in that industry as well. So she possibly couldn't see herself being a taxi worker. Yeah, it's very rare to find women who are actually in that business. But that's what I mean. You understand? It's okay. There aren't a lot of other things. Like she possibly doesn't know that you can make money off of animation. You could do something from fashion. You could do, like, there are a lot of avenues. You could become maybe a graphic designer. You could become an IT technician. You could become, maybe you could work in agriculture. You could, like, there are so many avenues. There are so many ways to make money, dog. Like, there's plenty. But because of the environment she is born into, she possibly doesn't know those things, right? And how you expect fresh perspective from a future leader if she ain't received the aid she needs in order to perform? Like, all the people or politicians like saying that our kids are the future of tomorrow. These kids are our future leaders and they are the ones who are going to propel us into the future, right? But they don't do the necessary work to actually help these kids, give them a solid base, give them a solid foundation to then, bolster them to greater heights, and so that they can then change the situation of their communities, the situations that they live in, that they currently live in, everything. Yeah, well, so it's just like they're just saying those things, but they don't live up to those words. Like, they just say it, but they don't actually do it, right? They feed themselves and their families. Yeah, well, capitalistic mindset type shit. You understand? Yeah. Then she says her memories. Oh, yeah, like, Precious is literally born into limiting conditions. She's literally born into limiting conditions. So how do you expect her to make something out of herself when she's born into limiting conditions? Yeah, but a lot of TikTok videos actually also speak on this, that it be the kasi for real. You understand? Like, kasi, and how, like, that small home is so constricting to your mind as well, because it also doesn't allow flow of creativity and doesn't allow you to think. Yeah, well, so yeah. And then her memories are torn. She keeps thinking about the day Malume came back home drunk and forced himself upon her innocence for a few minutes, then moved along. Oh. And now she's wiping out her blood, his sweat, and her tears. Oh. Put her makeup on to go outside and face her fears, looking at the next dude. The threat is yet to register. Dog. There's another reason to drink. Trauma. Like, a lot of people in the townships drink because of trauma. Like, these days, it has become such a common thing to find that the next woman is raped. Like, those stats when lying. I don't want to say the stats because I don't want to say the wrong thing. Yeah, but I don't want to say the wrong thing. But, like, even on TV, bro, it's so regular now to find a woman who says, no, I've been sexually assaulted, I've been raped, I've faced a case of gender-based violence. That's just to show how dire the situation is in our families, how bad it is. Like, I think it said, no, I'm not going to say, I think 1 in 3, but every other woman you meet, there's a high chance or a high possibility that they were either sexually assaulted by their close relative or by a friend. Right? So, bro. So that's another reason to drink. People are faced with traumas. Even some males are also sodomized by their uncles or by the child sexual assault. Yeah, but like an aunt or a cousin who is older, and then it's like, okay, let me show you something. Let me teach you something. You understand? So those are the traumas that people are faced with, but we don't, and that's why people then become hypersexualized. Yeah, well, so those are the things that we don't necessarily see or don't necessarily talk about in our communities, and the only thing that we lean on is what is the alcohol, which is why Biko was saying that a problem to a dire situation, because it goes deeper than just drinking for fun, but drinking all the time, a coping mechanism to forget all those problems. You understand? But that doesn't wipe the pain away. It's just a temporary solution. It's a temporary solution to a permanent problem, right? And then he says, put her makeup on, and now she's wiping out her blood, his sweat, and her tears. Put her makeup on to go outside and face her fears, looking at the next dude. The threat is yet to register. So in this now, like, she literally puts on her makeup so that she can hide all of those things, right? But also at the same time, she puts on a metaphorical makeup, or rather a facade of being okay and being this woman who holds it down, who has a harder core as Biko had said, she drinks some goods to prove her hardcore. Yabo, who shows that no, like I'm a G. Yabo, nothing can happen to me. You understand? And now obviously the uncle has ruined the view that she has of males or of other men. You understand? She probably grew up not even knowing that, okay, some people even grew up not knowing that this person was raping me, thinking that it is normal, but they only found out later with, no, man, this person was actually assaulting me. You understand? So now Umalume has literally ruined her view of males in general. She probably cannot even trust a male. He might look good, he might do the right thing, but she probably cannot even trust a male. Yabo. Face her fears. Literally, when she looks at another man, she's scared. But also, when she goes out into the world, she's scared that something like this might happen again. So every day, she has to face her fears. Yabo. That man is like the man that she stares at is a representation of everything that she fears. The possibility of getting raped, the possibility of getting harmed, the possibility of getting killed. Yabo. And what's possibly wrong with the community that she lives in, or society. You understand? Then she also has to face other fears as well. Yeah, so the threat is yet to register. The threat is yet to register. She is praying for her life while he prey on her like a predator. You understand? So the threat is yet to register. Like, even before getting to that line, I had made an annotation that a lion or a cheetah stalking a zebra. You know how, like, maybe like, let's say a deer or a springbok is unaware, or a kudu bug is unaware that a lion's coming. They're just sipping water, or a crocodile is coming. They're just sipping water, unaware of the threat. But they know what, at the back of their minds, they know what, something's looming around here. Yeah, so that's precious. That's precious. She's a springbok or a zebra in a world full of lions. You understand? So she doesn't even know sometimes a wolf is in a sheep's skin. Yeah, so she's praying for her life. She's praying for her life. She's praying to God again. The resurgence of religion. She's praying for her life while he prey on her like a predator. You understand? Like, you see the contrast and the juxtapositions. Yeah, but as I had said, so men are literally lions. The women are like the zebras. Yeah, but because he's preying on her. She possibly, like, he's looking at her. She's also looking at him. She sees her fears, and the exact thing she's fearing is exactly what it is. You understand? And also the danger is in that some guys will give off this facade of being good guys, being cool guys, being gentlemen, and then later on show their true colors, being violent, being verbally abusive, being, you understand? So yeah, that's Biko's verse. And then we have Thxbi closing it off for us. Thxbi then goes on to say,
said I wonder where the day will go. If there's no good in life, please bring me home. Flames grow and the flowers should go. Lost names in the wind, you brought them home. And what the fuck if we can't save ourselves? What's the point?
Said I wonder where the day will go. If there's no good in life, please bring me home. Right? Like, he doesn't know where the day will go or where everything will lead. I would say this is like straight to the point, right? If there's no good in life, please bring me home. Home, usually, like, Luke welcomed us into his broken home. But I feel like now Thxbi's sort of, Thxbi has traveled, Thxbi has traveled all over the world, possibly looking for good in some place, or some place where there's actually good. Maybe we can say a Wakanda type vibe, yeah, but we can say a Wakanda type vibe, or a heaven of some sort, yeah, but in this life that we live here on earth today. Okay, I was actually quoting Kendrick Lamar there, but yeah. Anyways, and on this life that we actually live here on earth today, yeah, bro. But he actually hasn't found anything, yeah, bro. So if he can't find it, and if he also goes to other people searching for this good in life that he possibly believes is there, if it's not there, the only source of good that he knows is from his family and from his home, or the home being the context of South Africa, yeah, bro. I've traveled around the world, and there's no place, that's why they say there's no place better than home. On a bigger scale, the world, there's no place better than just being at home. Better the devil you know than the devil you don't know, right? But also on a much smaller scale, South Africa, here in our country, if wherever Tabi is and he feels like there's no good in life, just bring me back home to my moms, to my brothers, to my family, to whoever it is, like to my closest people, right? And that's where I know good exists, because these people are good to me, these people are looking out for me, these people protect me, these people make sure I'm fed, these people make sure you understand. So yeah, home is the only place where there is a sense of tranquility. Yeah. So flames growing where flowers should. Like, we've already seen how bad Luke painted the picture, and how Biko further extended on that, like showing us the sexual assault that happens in the country, the gang rape, the alcohol abuse, and all of those things. The raping, relatives being evil towards their nieces and nephews. Yeah, but in this context, their nieces. Yeah, so flames growing where flowers should. Like, in places of poverty, there's possibly a lot of talent that could actually be groomed, but instead in those neighborhoods there's just bad that continues. Like, it just keeps on burning, like it's a repetitive, or things of a cyclical nature, you understand? Like, history just keeps on repeating itself. Like, teenage pregnancy is on the rise. Teenage pregnancy is constantly on the rise, even with the new ways in which we can prevent it. Teenage pregnancy is on the rise. Rape is on the rise. Gender-based violence is on the rise. You understand? Financial exclusion and all of those things is on the rise as well. Yeah, well, so lost names in the wind. Oh yeah, things don't get better in the country, that's what I said. Lost names in the wind, you brought them home. And what the fuck, if we can't save ourselves, where do we go? Yeah, bro. So I checked lost names in the wind. What does this possibly mean? So these guys read, bruh. There's a post where I saw Justin saying this project, he was actually referring to Fireflies, where he was saying this project actually made me read some French dons. Yeah, so I know that these guys read. So I checked by lost names in the wind. Then I googled that, and luckily I stumbled upon something that said the Book of Lost Names, a book by Kristen Harmel, which was released on the 21st of July 2020. So a summary of the book says that Eva and her mom escape Paris after her father is arrested by Nazis in 1942, right? Eva is a librarian, I think, in Switzerland, but she's in her library, and all of a sudden she recognizes this book that she had written a long time ago, and she's astonished, and now she remembers all of those things. So they come back, the flashbacks, and Eva used forgery to help Jewish children escape Nazi-occupied France during World War II. The book becomes vital when Remy goes missing. So what happened was Eva, so also it's based on a true story. Yeah, it's based on a true story, right? It's based on a true story. So what happens was Eva and her mom they went to another place, right? What Eva did was, to save those Jewish people that were in the Nazi France, they changed their identities so that they can, run away. But she also knew that with changing people's identities, some of them are too young to remember who they are, right? So what she decided to then do was write a book for those people, so that whenever they grow up, they then remember who they were and where they come from. Yeah, but so it tells the story of how intelligence goes in and out. I haven't read the book, but after hearing this, definitely gotta check it out. Yeah, but so also someone on TikTok, people on TikTok give it a review and it sounds like a great book. I also read a review on Google. Yeah, I also read a review I had found while searching the web, and it sounds like a great book. So the book becomes vital when a person by the name of Remy goes missing. So I'm assuming that they then use that book. They use that book to search for a Remy, yeah, but in that book, and then they bring him back home, so that, like, sort of physically bring him back home and also bring him back to who he is, vele ubuqu bakhe, like ungubani yena, yabo, originally, yabo. So yeah, Lost Names in the Wind, You Brought Them Home. I don't necessarily know who Thxbi is referring to here, yabo, but I do think, oh yeah, I did say that this ties in well with border dropping nukes, yabo, border dropping nukes. This also ties in really well with what Justin had said, border dropping nukes like Harry Truman. So a lot of the themes in this song Change are based or circled around World War II, the Second World War, veterans, the struggle in South Africa. It's all interlinked. Yeah, but and then I did also say that when he says Lost Names in the Wind, I do believe that he's probably referring to the veterans that were in exile, right? People that had ran away from the country to seek exile in other countries and also continue to push the movement and the struggle that side, yabo, so that that thing can happen and then we can all have our democratic freedom, yabo. Lost Names in the Wind, You Brought Them Home. Yabo. So like I also like the books that they reference, the texts that they reference, because it ties in really well. Yabo. Yeah. And what the fuck, if we can't save ourselves, where do we go? Yabo. Like this is the same thing that these people, like this is like the same feeling that these Jews had probably felt in the Nazi France, where they were like, we have nowhere else to go. It's like we're sitting ducks. Yeah, well, we're sitting ducks and we're just waiting for people to just eliminate us. Yeah, well, but luckily someone came with the solution. Yeah, well, someone came with the solution and was able to help them flee the country. You understand? So this is our home. Where else do you go? Even if you go outside, there are more problems. There are more problems than the one you're experiencing here. So it's like you're in prison. You see, dog, I like how these guys write, bruh, in a sense that you can, I feel like you can tell, but okay, they all sit down and they're like, okay, what did you write? Oh yeah, and like they're just bouncing ideas off of each other. Yeah, but and they're like, oh, we can type like this, or you can say this, but everyone still adds their own flair to it, type thing. You understand? Because it's like, bruh, because that's what Luke has said, welcome to my broken home. And then now you find out later, once you're inside the broken home, that you're actually in prison. You are not free. Where do we go if we can't save ourselves? Like, bruh, so you can only imagine, like, dog. Then he says,
Where we go?
Chasing time, but we'll still be late. The clock's still ticking. What you do or what you can choose, yeah. It still ain't gonna be no change. Still ain't gonna be no change. Yeah.
chasing time, but we still late. The clock's still ticking. Like the clock is always ticking, bro. The clock is always ticking. Like, we're chasing time, we're chasing all of these goals, but we're always late, because once you achieve this thing, you want to achieve the next thing. Once you achieve this thing, you want to achieve the next thing. Like, we're always trying to self-actualize and become the best versions of ourselves. Yabo? And then he says, what you can do or what you can choose. Still ain't gonna be no change. So I actually like the fact that it's like Thxbi was also asking the question here, what you can do or what you can choose. Yabo? It's like he's giving you an option, but still that option is binding and it's blocking you in a sense. Because now you choose this, you're doomed. You choose that, you're doomed. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. You understand? So damned if you do, damned if you don't, Chana. Yabo? And we're still in prison, as Luke had said. Yabo? So what you can do or what you can choose. So you can choose that, but we're still gonna do our own thing. As I had mentioned even in Luke's verse, but that's like what that mom did, asking the son, do you want the red house? Do you want a red room? And he was like, yeah. And then she's like, no, you're getting till stripes or whatever those stripes are called. You understand? Instead of giving him what he wanted, but like a different option, or instead just doing what she wants to do and not tell the son, this is what I want to do, or this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you a choice, but you're not going to get it, son. You understand? So still ain't gonna be no change. Still ain't gonna be no change. That says a lot. Because Luke was foreshadowing that I don't think it's gonna change. Because it rains, we weather the storm, we remain in those conditions. So now Thxbi is saying it straightforward, straight up, like, yo, dog, there won't be any change, bro. You can think that, you can say, I wanna do this sharp, you can do that, but there are gonna be limitations. Because there are people who are controlling that. Right? There are gonna be limitations. Yeah, I'll create it up. You understand? And then there still won't be any change. Like you can choose a different route, you can do that, there won't be any change. So damn if you do, damn if now things start to get dark from here. Because he literally said that there won't be any change. Yeah, but like Thxbi is just telling you straight up. And the way he says it, like, there'll be no change. That's like just I feel like that's creativity. Yes, that's vocal affliction and all of those things, but it also sounds very gloomy and it sounds like an outcry. It sounds, yeah, bro, because when his verse and then it starts being slow and then now the instrumental comes in like doom 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 doom. It's like now we're rolling up the credits. Yeah, so things are now starting to take a dark turn. Like, bro, there won't be any change. So yeah, you can forget about that. So what you can do or what you can choose, and for him to say there still won't be any change is because they say that we should study our history so that we do not repeat the same mistakes, but we constantly do. And that's, I feel like who's this Justin, there's this guy Justin Scott, I think it said it's because we don't recognize the patterns, right? We either recognize the patterns, but we still choose not to change them. Or the people that are in power see these patterns, but they know the patterns, but they're like, okay, they won't do anything to change these patterns. You understand? So, yeah. I think starts to take a dark turn. Yeah, like, but not too much. We haven't gotten there. We're still headed there. You understand? Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, that's it from me. That is our part. I'm still undecided if I want to make this a part 3 or part 2, but even if I make it a part 3, I'm gonna drop them like one after the next type shandies, so that we can just do thoughts and prayers next. Yeah, so I'll say for now this is our part 2. Yeah, and if in actual fact it's our part 3, then I want to say part 3. Yeah, but anyways, I do hope that you enjoyed watching this as much as I enjoyed making it. And yeah, I asked my family to turn the volume down, so I'm sure they're quite upset about that. They're quite upset about that. Tune in this week when I drop, this week or next week. Let me say next week, because this week I have to do the Flower Seeds by Lotin Over Pounds episode. So tune in next week when I drop thoughts and prayers. Also, I want to go deep into it because I don't like how I missed a lot of things in the first episode of this Dun. So it felt a bit rushed, so I don't want to rush myself. And yeah, man, I want you guys to, like, I want to suck all of the juices out. And if you guys ever find something, you can also correct me on that one. Yeah, man, but peace. I do hope that you enjoyed this episode and that you loved it. Yeah. And always remember that you are a creative. Peace and love.